I don't have time to share with you all the amazing stories that God has put together here in this little gospel garden. But I do have a few minutes to give you reasons why you should start a gospel garden in your community, and then a few tips on how to do it, okay? What do I mean by gospel garden? Right here at about 2 hours or 3 hours, we'll have 10 chairs around this bench, and we'll open up the Gospel of John and invite everyone to come and hear about the message of Jesus from that gospel. Reason number one, a neighborhood gospel garden meets people where they are. Inviting people to church may be helpful, but a lot of people don't want to be in church. And yet people will be at a park. Number two, a gospel garden is a direct way to get the seed on soil. As we meet, we're meeting to read the Bible. Reason number three, you're meeting on neutral soil. It's not that they're coming to your place, you're going to their place. You have a nice neutral spot, which means a lot of things. Right, we have people walking by cursing and rats crawling by. Other things that you don't necessarily want about that, but it's very helpful to have neutral soil. Number four, a neighborhood Bible study like this, a community garden, is very upfront about the purpose. It's not bait and switch, like, oh, come to our preschoolers recital and we'll preach the gospel to you. It's, hey, come hear about God from His Word. Number five, a neighborhood Bible study provides a means for God to work. We do believe that God is drawing everyone in my community. And so what this does is just gets a net out there and lets Him do His work. Our few fish need to be put in His hand. And this is another tool, another effort to get the net in God's hand. 6 quick steps to put in your garden. You'll probably come up with a lot better plan than we did, but here's 6 ideas, okay? Number one, begin with a season of prayer, right? Water that soil with prayer. Ask God's Spirit to work. Again, we know He's drawing all men, He's convicting all men, but you need to ask Him to work, and sometimes He waits to work until we ask Him. So months ahead of time, get some gospel-loving people in your church, your community, who will pray for that garden. Step 2, engage the community. I've been living in this community for years and know people here. But also for weeks before we started meeting, we connected with people in the local park. So we engaged people in that way. Number 3, so important, invite the community. I don't mean invite a few people. I mean invite your whole community. Invite thousands, right? If there are thousands in your community, invite thousands. Invite them several times. Make sure everyone in your community knows this is happening. We've used a little 3x5 card invitation for that, and that works well, cheap, and get out thousands that way. Some of you who are hearing this are hearing invite some people. I'm saying invite everybody repeatedly. Everyone needs to know, because God, again, God is drawing everyone. It's His work. It's not your work. It's His work. But He uses means, and He uses the means of a kind invitation. So you need to make sure you invite those you know and everyone you don't know, because everybody needs to hear about Jesus. Number 4, start meeting regularly in public. We meet every Thursday night from 6:30 to 7:30. Start meeting. Get a few other gospel-hearted people with you who will start meeting with you in public, where everyone can see. It might be a diner, it might be a coffee shop. I love the park. Number 5, so important, start sowing the gospel. No one is saved without the gospel sown. So our studies need to make sure that they are preeminently gospel-oriented. So we got to get into the text, right? The gospel is the power of God to salvation. So each week we handle the next 10 verses or so in the Gospel of John, finding 10 or 15 questions that jump in there and really get people to think about those words, right? Because it's the Word of God plowing. That's the seed we're sowing. That's the gospel garden. And that's the sword of the Spirit that brings life. You're born again by the seed, which is the Word of God. The Spirit uses His sword, so He convicts people. He brings people to your study, but you've got to sow the seed or there's no gospel garden. Then lastly, step 6, pray, pray, pray. Keep praying. Keep praying that the seed of the garden brings fruit, and fruit that will remain. If you step out by faith and start planting a gospel garden with a group, you will love it. You will love it. It will be so joyful to your soul. It will build up God's body, bring people into His kingdom, and be a light. It will be a light to your community that is not placed under a bushel or a steeple, but brings light to everyone, to everyone.